Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're venturing into, well, a pretty mind-expanding idea.
Mm-hmm.
This concept of a cosmic night, a sort of profound rest period before the universe as we know it comes back.
Right, a pralaya. But it's crucial, isn't it, that this isn't just nothingness.
Exactly, not an empty void. Think of it more like, well, like a state brimming with potential, latent possibility.
Like everything's held in suspension, waiting.
Precisely. And we're not just spitballing here, are we? We've got a specific source.
We do. We're grounding this whole discussion in excerpts from The Secret Doctrine, Night of the Universe Analysis.
Focusing specifically on the very first stanza from H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine.
Which, for anyone familiar, is quite a deep text, a very different perspective on origins.
Definitely. So our mission today really is to unpack the key ideas in just this first stanza.
Yeah, try to pull out these surprising facts, these thought-provoking concepts about the pre-manifested cosmos. What was it like before?
Okay, let's jump right in. Sloka 1. The eternal parent space, wrapped in her ever-invisible robes, had slumbered once again for 7 eternities.
Wow, okay. Lots to unpack there already.
Right. Let's start with the eternal parent space. This isn't just the vacuum between stars, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. The source is really clear. This space isn't an empty container. It's presented as the ever-incognizable deity.
The deity itself.
Yes, and the plenum, the absolute container of all that is, manifested or unmanifested. It's the ultimate foundation.
So it's not that things exist in space. Space is the fundamental reality.
In this context, yes, it's the precondition for dimension itself. And it connects to Tat, doesn't it?
Yes, Tati, the unknowable rootless root. What's the link there?
Well, Tat is the absolute ground, the causeless cause. Both spirit and matter arise from Tat.
Okay.
And this eternal parent space is maybe the very first stirring, the first differentiation away from that absolute unity.
And what about this image, 7-skinned, eternal mother-father? Sounds very symbolic.
Highly symbolic. It represents the multifaceted nature of this parent space. It encompasses 7 cosmic planes, or levels.
7 levels, like layers.
Kind of. Layers of potentiality, descending from the purely spiritual down to more foundational pre-cosmic aspects.
Interesting. And the text uses her for parent space. Why the feminine?
That's a common theme. You know, the initial creative or generative stage often linked to the feminine.
Yeah.
Here, parent space is linked to Mula Prakriti. That's the primordial root substance.
Mula Prakriti, okay.
And it acts as a kind of veil or vehicle for Parabrahm, the absolute. It's the receptive, generative aspect.
Okay, so if we try to bring this down to a human level, is there an analogy in us?
The source offers one, yeah. Cosmic space has Mula Prakriti or Svabhavat, that self-becoming essence. It corresponds to Buddhi in us, our spiritual soul.
Buddhi, okay.
And Atma, the universal spirit principle in us, that corresponds to Parabrahm, the absolute.
That helps frame it. Okay, what about her ever-invisible robes? What are these robes space is wearing?
These are described as the mystical root of all matter. The noumenon, you know, the underlying reality.
The essence.
Yes, the essence of undifferentiated cosmic matter. But, and this is key, it's not physical matter.
Not atoms and stuff?
No, it's spiritual, primordial, co-eternal with space itself. It's described as non-differentiated substance or spiritual matter.
Spiritual matter on the highest plane.
Exactly. The 7th, the highest spiritual plane. Think of it as the potential for matter, existing spiritually first.
And this is Mula Prakriti again?
Yes, Mula Prakriti is this primordial spiritual substance. It's the ultimate basis for everything that eventually manifests.
So even Akasha.
Even Akasha, that subtle spiritual essence, is considered its first differentiated product, the first step out of pure unity.
Got it. And the text mentions the Laya condition. What's that?
Laya is a neutral point, a zero state, absolute homogeneity.
Like perfect balance.
Exactly. Before any differentiation begins. Pure potentiality.
And these robes are invisible, even to the logos. That's saying something.
It really emphasizes how fundamental this level is. Even the logos, the manifested creative intelligence, can't perceive the absolute Parabrahm directly.
So Mula Prakriti, the robes, act as a veil.
An impenetrable veil, yeah. Shielding the absolute.
Okay. Then, slumbered once again for 7 eternities. Eternity usually means forever, right? But maybe not here.
That's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean endless linear time.
No.
It means vast, vast cycles, eons of cosmic duration. Think periods of rest between cosmic activity.
So cosmic cycles of activity and rest, Manvantara and Pralaya?
Precisely. The law of analogy applies. Just as a Manvantara has 7 periods, so does a Pralaya have its vast duration.
But these eternities aren't truly absolute.
No, they're relative. Vast, but finite compared to the true eternity of Parabrahm. They are manvantaric and Pralaic eternities.
And this idea of divine immortality only lasting till the end of a cycle, a kalpa.
Right. It means enduring for a day of Brahma, then reabsorption. The essence carries forward, but it's not permanent individual existence as we might think.
And these cycles are mind-bogglingly long, a mahakalpa.
The number given is staggering. 311 trillion, 40 billion mortal years.
Whoa.
And Pralaya is the period of dissolution within that cycle, a return to that layam state, that absolute latency, waiting.
And the number 7 keeps popping up. Its significance.
It's fundamental in Blavatsky's system, the number of divine mysteries, a structural principle for the cosmos and for us.
Whereas 10 is more about manifestation.
Generally, yes. 7 relates more to the hidden processes, the underlying structure.
Okay, wow. That was just the first line. Let's move to the second sloka. Time was not, for it lay asleep in the infinite bosom of duration. That seems to fly in the face of our experience.
It certainly does. The key here is the difference between time and duration.
Okay.
Time, as we know it, past, present, future, is presented as an illusion.
Oh, yeah.
An illusion. Yeah, a mode of perception that arises from our consciousness within a manifested universe. It's created by us experiencing events sequentially.
So without us perceiving it, time doesn't exist independently.
That's the idea. Duration, though. That's the underlying reality, without beginning nor end. An aspect of the absolute.
So duration is the timeless reality, and time is our perception within it.
You could put it that way, yes. Time is finite, divisible, created by manifested beings. Duration is more like space, an abstraction, boundless.
And this illusion of time is specific to our plane, our consciousness.
Exactly. It's contrasted with the timeless, eternal, divine consciousness. The text even uses devachan.
The state between lives.
Right, to show how our sense of time dissolves in other states of being.
It also mentions the illusory present. What's that about?
The present moment, as we grasp it, is just an infinitesimal point. No real duration. It vanishes as soon as you try to hold it.
Because everything is always changing. Perpetual motion.
Exactly. Nothing in manifestation is static. It's all flux, becoming and unbecoming. Our sense of a stable present is just fleeting moments strung together.
So if everything's changing, what's a real entity then?
From this perspective, it's the totality of all its states, its conditions, throughout its entire existence.
The whole history.
The whole history, yeah. Existing eternally as potential and then as perfected experience within duration.
So duration is the realm of true, complete existence, and we just see a slice.
A very limited cross-section, yes. Our senses and mind limit our view.
Okay, sloka 3. Universal mind was not, for there were no celestial beings to contain, hence to manifest it. This sounds tricky. No mind without beings.
It highlights the link between consciousness and its vehicles. Mind here means active mind, thought, will, feeling.
So during Pralaya, no cosmic thinking is happening.
Not in an active, differentiated sense. Active ideation ceases. Cosmic memory is suspended. Mind was not because there were no active manifesting organs. The
needed containers.
Yes. Without finite minds to act as containers, active mind in that sense didn't exist.
But there's still an underlying absolute mind, a potential.
Exactly, a crucial distinction. Absolute mind is the eternal potential within the absolute. What was not was its active expression.
And the ahai are needed for that expression.
Precisely. The text refers to the manifested aspect as mahat cosmic ideation, active divine intelligence.
Okay.
Without the ahi as vehicles, or upadhis, mahat remains latent. It's the periodical manifestation of the eternal universal mind.
Upadhi, the vehicle for the noumenon, the idea.
Yes. A noumenon needs an upadhi to become a phenomenon. Universal mind as noumenon needs the ahi as upadhis to manifest.
So who or what are these ahi, celestial beings?
They're identified as Dhyan Shohans, like angelic hosts, Elohim, the architects, the builders of the cosmos.
The intelligent forces shaping reality.
In essence, yes. The primordial 7 rays, or logoi, emanated from the first logos. They arise with the first stirrings of mind at the dawn of Manvantara.
And they enact nature's laws.
They guide evolution, maintain order, operating under higher laws themselves. Interestingly, in their primordial state, they don't have free will like humans.
More like pure cosmic forces, then.
Initially, yes. Acting in harmony, driven by universal law. Their consciousness is different, becoming individualized thinkers later.
So they're not just symbols, but actual beings. on a different level.
Yes, a complex hierarchy through which universal mind acts. And the text suggests the Ahai from Armanavantara's creation have evolved
Evolves into what?
into planetary spirits, solar, lunar entities, even the higher egos within humanity.
Wow, so they're interwoven with us now. Okay, Sloka 4. The 7 ways to bliss, moksha or nirvana, were not. The great causes of misery, nidana and maya, were not, for there was no one to produce and get ensnared by them. Makes sense if no one's there.
It follows logically, yes. The 7 ways to bliss paths to liberation, moksha, nirvana.
And nirvana isn't annihilation?
Not in this view. It's the bliss of non-existence from our limited phenomenal viewpoint, but it's absolute being nominally.
And these paths involve spiritual practice.
Paramita,
Thus,
cultivating virtues, wisdom. But these paths weren't active during Pralaya. No beings to walk them, just latent potential.
the specifics are pretty esoteric, it says.
Very. Concepts like the Turiya state or the Nirmanakaya choice.
The enlightened being who stays to help.
Exactly. Delaying their own final bliss.
Okay, now the flip side. Great causes of misery, nidana and maya. Nidana sounds like a chain reaction.
That's a good way to put it. The 12 interdependent causes of phenomenal existence and suffering. They underpin the 4 noble truths.
Cause and effect, karma, rebirth, the whole cycle.
Exactly. And the text says it is Maya, illusion or ignorance, which awakens Nidanas, that sets the wheel spinning.
And reincarnation driven by this just leads to more suffering. Death isn't an escape.
Not in this view, just a transition within the cycle.
And both Hinayana and Mahayana Buddhism share these core esoteric ideas.
Fundamentally, yes. Dispelling Maya and avidya ignorance through wisdom, praja, and spiritual knowledge, jhana, is key in both.
Okay, let's focus on Maya, illusion, such a central idea.
It really is. It's seen as inherent in all finite manifested things. Gives them relative reality, not absolute.
So our sense of being separate individuals, that's Maya.
It's a consequence, yes. The ego perceiving itself as distinct from the one infinite reality, SAT. It's tied to differentiation.
And how reality appears depends on the observer's consciousness.
Right. The Vedantin view is similar. Believing in the independent reality of differentiated matter is Maya.
So during Pralaya, no egos means no active Maya.
Exactly. It's in abeyance. Only the absolute Tatit or Parabrahm is truly permanent.
And things seem real to us only because we are also temporary relative reflections.
Precisely. True reality is in the noumenal archetypes, or found by piercing Maya through spiritual development. Our senses limit us to the densest layer.
So the spiritual path is like waking up from illusion.
A progressive awakening, yes. Final freedom is realizing identity with absolute consciousness, nirvana, Parabrahm.
Profound. Okay, Sloka 5. Darkness alone filled the boundless all, for father, mother, and son were once more one, and the son had not awakened yet for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon. Darkness here isn't just lack of light, is it?
No, it's highly symbolic. Remember the proverb, darkness is father, mother, light their son.
Right.
Darkness here represents the unknown, unknowable source, the unmanifested absolute, the primordial silence.
Before the first stirring of manifestation.
Exactly. Manifested light only appears later, after differentiation begins. Theosophy uses light dually potential and manifested.
And perceiving this primordial darkness requires spiritual senses.
Yes. During Pralaya, no manifested light, no developed eye, so darkness filled everything as undifferentiated absoluteness.
Okay. Father, mother, and son were once more one. A cosmic reunion.
In a way, yes, a return to unity. Father, mother are the latent spirit, Purusha, and substance, Prakriti and Mula Prakriti.
And the son.
Manifested universe, the logos, their product. During Pralaya, these distinctions dissolve back into the source.
So the 3 logoi, potential, abstract intelligence, manifested cosmos, are reabsorbed.
Correct. Father, mother can also be seen as primordial spirit matter. The sun arises when it differentiates. Fohat is the active link.
It also mentions centripetal forces. Father, mother again.
Another layer of symbolism showing the inherent dynamic. It's a fundamental triplicity, reflected even in AUM.
And Brahma is also father, mother, son?
Esoterically, yes. Spirit, soul, body, or absolute ideation manifestation. The cosmic trinity.
And this mirrors the human trinity too. Atma, Buddhimanas, personality.
Exactly. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm.
Then, the son had not awakened yet for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon. What's the wheel and pilgrimage?
The wheel symbolizes a world like Earth on its evolutionary journey through 7 rounds or cycles.
Great wheel for the solar system, small wheels for planets.
Right. And the pilgrimage is the monad's journey, the spark of divinity through these cycles, gaining experience, unfolding divinity.
So the universe is dormant, waiting for the next cycle to begin.
Precisely. The sun, the manifested universe, is still asleep in this cosmic night.
Okay, Sloka 6. The 7 sublime lords and the 7 truths had ceased to be, and the universe, the sun of necessity, was immersed in Parinishpana, to be outbreathed by that which is and yet is not, not was. 7 sublime lords. Who are they?
The highest Tian Shohans, creative spirits, Elohim, archangels, the builders and governors of the cosmos.
Overseeing the rounds and races, sending bodhisattvas.
Yes. 7 creative rays from the third logos. Their cessation means withdrawal into latency during Pralaya, like the Dhyani Buddhas.
And the 7 truths ceasing.
These are fundamental aspects of divine wisdom revealed progressively. Only 4 fully given to us so far, matching our 4th round.
More to come in future rounds.
That's the idea. During Pralaya, these truths are latent in universal mind.
Now, Parinishpana, absolute perfection, the ultimate end state.
It's defined as absolute perfection, rest, assimilation at the end of a Maha Manvadara. Young grub is another term.
Everyone and everything rests in this state during Pralaya, even the Ahai.
Yes, rested in the bliss of non-being within Parinishpana. It's a state where non-ego, voidness, darkness are understood as one, pure beingness.
It's still relative perfection, not the absolute end of evolution.
Exactly. It's relative from a higher view of endless progress, like the flower becoming the perfect fruit, holding seeds for the next cycle.
And the universe as a son of necessity, meaning?
It implies it arises from cosmic impulse, karmic law, not arbitrary, one in an infinite series of universes.
And then to be outbreathed by that which is and yet is not. This sounds like the great breath again.
It is. The coming and going of the universe is the outbreathing and inbreathing of the great breath, eternal motion, Atma.
A ceaseless rhythm.
Like the rhythmical motions of the unconscious ocean. Outbreathing projects divine ideation. Inbreathing dissolves it back into Mula Prakriti.
And causes of existence done away with means the previous cycle's causes.
Yes, not the ultimate causeless cause, Parabrahm. That's immutable.
And not was refers to this ultimate latency. That which is and yet is not.
Precisely. The great breath in its pralaic state. Absolute unconditioned existence that looks like non-existence to us finite minds. All forms reabsorbed.
It also brings up time, again, past, present, future only existing phenomenally.
Yes. Our sense of duration comes from sensations, consciousness states. It vanishes with the illusion of separateness. Paramartha, true self-consciousness, versus Samvriti, relative truth, helps understand this.
Okay, Sloka 7. The causes of existence had been done away with. The visible that was, and the invisible that is, rested in eternal non-being, the one being. This pulls things together.
It does. The causes of existence done away with are the metaphysical and spiritual ones from the last Manvantara, primarily Tanha, the desire to exist.
Which reflects the initial divine thought.
Yes. But again, the ultimate causeless cause, Parabrahm, is unaffected. Even the first logos can only cognize Mula Prakriti, its veil.
And just tracing causes intellectually leads to an apparent void.
Often, yes. Where science and exoteric religion might stop. The missing links are those intermediate metaphysical abstractions.
Like the steam, water, ice analogy shows different states of one thing.
Exactly. Now, that paradox, eternal non-being, the one being, central to understanding the absolute.
Because our idea of being is limited to manifested things.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Blavatsky interprets the visible that was as the past universe and the invisible that is as the eternal deity.
So the one being, ultimate reality, appears as non-being during Pralaya because all forms are withdrawn.
Yes. It's the noumenon-giving phenomena, relative reality. We lack the spiritual senses to see it directly then, like gold hidden in quartz.
Only the initiate with the open eye of the Dhamma perceives the essence.
Correct. Understanding the Nidanas, the four truths, is key to grasping this.
Okay, Sloka 8. Alone, the one form of existence stretched boundless, infinite, causeless, and dreamless sleep, and life pulsated unconscious in universal space throughout that all presence which is sensed by the opened eye of the Dhamma, the one form of existence. What is that?
Even modern science was hinting at a single basis, right? Protoplasm, protile. Here, it's the ultimate spiritual basis. Connected to Svabhavat, that self-becoming substance principle, or Mula Prakriti again.
The eternal parent in its most undifferentiated state.
Exactly. Svabhavat is the synthesis of spirit and matter, the pre-cosmic web of the universe.
It mentions Prabhavapya.
That's the state from which things originate and into which they dissolve. It's the unmanifest material cause, the ideal spiritual potential. In its secondary stage, it becomes the svabhavat of Buddhist philosophy.
So esoteric Buddhism built on these older ideas.
Yes, on the Secret Doctrine, the Upanishads. Now, dreamless sleep or sushupti.
One of the states of consciousness.
Yes, one of 7 in Oriental esotericism, used allegorically here for the universe in Pralaya. Looks blank, but it's absolute being, absolute potentiality, like deep hypnosis.
And Dhamma.
A purified soul, a Jivan Mukta, high adept Mahatma, someone with profound spiritual insight.
And the opened eye, the spiritual eye.
Yes, the inner eye, the organ of direct spiritual perception, Buddhi's faculty. The pineal gland is its dormant physical correspondence.
But crucially, during Pralaya, there was no active Dhamma.
Exactly. No men, no differentiated beings yet to sense the all-presence.
So the eye is metaphorical here.
It implies a latent potential within cosmic being for such perception, a faculty that would manifest later. The all-presence itself latently self-senses, or has the capacity to be sensed.
Okay, that's subtle. Last one, Sloka 9. But where was the Dhamma when the alaya of the universe, soul as the basis of all anima mundi, was in Paramartha? Absolute being and consciousness, which are absolute non-being and unconsciousness. And the great wheel was Anupadaka.
Right. So alaya first, the soul of the world, anima mundi, universal spiritual essence.
Not static, it changes state.
Periodically, yes.
Yep.
The highest Dhyani Buddhas are one with it. A perfected yogi can merge with it. It's linked to Buddhi in us.
Cosmic Buddhi being the vehicle for Mahat.
Yes. The Yogacarya school sometimes describes alaya vanina as personifying voidness, the basis of everything.
Okay, and alaya was in Paramartha. What's Paramartha in this pralaic context?
It's defined as absolute non-being and unconsciousness to finite minds, being at the same time absolute perfection or absoluteness itself.
So the world soul is completely re-emerged with its unconditioned source, beyond differentiation.
Exactly. Esoterically, Paramartha means ultimate, absolute truth. Unconditioned being, Svasamvedana, Parakalpita error, and Paratantra-dependent existence are obstacles to reaching it.
It also stresses universal life here. Everything is conscious.
On different planes, yes.
Right.
Anima mundi, Jivatma, it's an ancient idea. The Greek nous is a later echo. But Aryan philosophers didn't give it finite thinking.
And alaya has other meanings too. Higher ego, pratana.
Yes, different applications. The text contrasts these Eastern ideas with Western concepts like Hegel's absolute spirit or von Hartmann's unconscious.
Noting their limitations.
Yeah, criticizing Hegel's idea of the absolute needing to evolve for self-consciousness. Absolute consciousness transcends our conception.
Yeah.
Spirit and matter are just aspects of the one unknowable.
Okay. And the great wheel was Anupadaka. What's Anupadaka?
It means parentless, self-existing, without progenitors.
Applied to whom?
To the highest Dian Shohans, radiating directly from the unmanifested logos. Also to perfected human Buddhas merged with Atma Buddhi, diamond-souled, and the concealed Lord.
So it's a hierarchy.
With alaya at the top, Minushi Buddhas lower. But every soul-endowed human is latently Anupadaka.
So when the great wheel was Anupadaka,
It means the cosmos was in its primordial, unmanifested, self-existent state, resting within its own parentless essence, pure potentiality.
Hegel gets a brief mention here too.
Just noting his idea about avatars embodying God-man unity as a Western parallel to the journey each spirit undertakes.
This has been, wow, a really deep dive into some seriously complex foundational ideas.
It really has. Stanza 1 sets quite a stage.
So if we were to sort of summarize the key takeaways from just this first stanza, what stands out?
Well, we've really explored the nature of that pre-cosmic state, haven't we? This idea of absolute rest, pralaya, but brimming with latent potentiality.
Not emptiness, but fullness waiting to happen.
Exactly. And the fundamental principles. Space as the eternal parent, the great breath's rhythm, spirit, and matter intertwined at the root,
Mula prakriti, parabram.
and the vast cyclical nature of it all. The 7 eternities, the rounds, the pilgrimage.
It's definitely a perspective that stretches your usual way of thinking about the universe's beginnings, isn't it? Compared to standard science or religious?
Absolutely. What's really striking is how it reframes things we take for granted. Time, mind, consciousness, even what being means.
It pushes you to consider realities beyond our normal senses.
Definitely.
So, a final thought then, perhaps for you listening. How might understanding this concept, this pre-manifested state of pure potentiality, how might that change your perception of this world, our current manifested impermanent world?
Right. What does it mean for how you think about consciousness? Or time? Or ultimate reality if our universe is just, one phase in an eternal cycle.
And maybe consider the nature of potentiality itself. If everything is held dormant in that night, what does that say about the sheer creative drive of the cosmos? Why does it burst forth again and again?
Powerful questions. Definitely worth mulling over.
Truly are. Well, if this deep dive has piqued your interest, we really do encourage you to explore these theosophical ideas further, or related philosophy and spirituality. It's quite a journey.
It certainly is.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.